Hi, I'm RevloGM, and today we're taking another look at one of the playtest classes for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. It's not in playtest anymore, but I still wanted to have a look at it. Last time we did the Daredevil, which was quite interesting. Today we're looking at the Slayer. This is the other class from the Risks and Rewards playtest, and is a class that was in Pathfinder 1st Edition. I've very little experience with that though, so I'm not going to be really doing any direct comparisons, more just seeing how this looks like it could play into Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remaster. The world is full of dangerous and mighty beings, but Slayers know that no threat is unbeatable. You could be a trapper in pursuit of rarer game, a brave defender of the weak, or a dogged pursuer of a hated nemesis. Whatever your reasons, few are more skilled than you at hunting singular and deadly foes. Equipped with an arsenal of specialized tools, the spoils of your previous hunts, and your indomitable spirit, you're always more prepared for each new quarry than the last. I've been watching Hunter x Hunter at the moment with my partner, and this is definitely giving similar kind of vibes. It is hunting specific targets, but the reason for hunting said targets can be almost anything. We've also got rangers who have some elements of hunting but also have that tie into kind of the natural world as well. You've got investigators, but that's less of a hunting of the person and more of a uncovering of a mystery that may or may not lead to a person but also may lead to something else. And then rogues, you can have assassins and stuff, which is similar but it's still in a different style, I suppose. So interesting. Slayer as a word usually evokes mostly kind of the Doomslayer or like Buffy and things like that, which kind of with the style going here is more kind of feels like it's in that kind of niche, but just fixed towards very specific foes. Let's see how we do this. So their key attributes are strength or dex. That makes a lot of sense, and you get 10 hit points plus your con modifier. Again, makes a lot of sense. Your initial proficiencies, we have expert in perception. You've got to be able to find and locate your quarry, so absolutely. Expert in fortitude, trained in reflex, expert in will. Much like with the Daredevil, this is an interesting one because I in many ways feel like expert in reflex fits maybe better here than expert in will. But I suppose the idea is you've got to be able to survive like kind of tracking through any kind of situation and condition, which is mostly fortitude, and you've got to have the fortitude to kind of keep going and keep on the trail over time periods and stuff, which is going to be kind of will more so than reflex, and then hopefully you're hunting them from far away or something. So Intriguing again. Trained in survival, naturally, and a number of additional skills equal to 4 plus your intelligence modifier, so reasonable. Simple and martial weapons and unarmed attacks, light and medium armor, unarmed defense, and the Slayer class DC, all of which makes perfect sense. During combat encounters, you are emboldened by your allies' successes or by defeated foes, following up with a relentless series of techniques. You use your knowledge of monsters to identify your enemy's weaknesses and your arsenal of customized hunting tools to exploit them. So kind of like a thaumaturge, but a bit more specific, maybe. During social encounters, you offer insights gleaned from training and experience, especially on the subject of dangerous creatures. Your perceptiveness and strong will make you difficult to deceive or distract. While exploring, you gather information to choose your next quarry and prepare your tools to target some abilities, reinforcing your arsenal with trophies claimed from previous hunts. You use your keen senses to help your group with tracking or watch for trouble. Also, of course, witches. That's the other kind of vibe that it sort of gives off. That's the other thing I was thinking of. In downtime, you keep your ear to the ground for rumours of a future quarry. You might also craft weapons and armour for yourself and the group, or spend your time hunting small game to keep your skills sharp. You might have a preference for weapons and armour you customise yourself, eschewing store-bought gear, swiftly take notes or samples when you encounter a new creature, or grow more ferocious when faced with your quarry startling your allies. Others probably rely on you to identify mysterious tracks or rumours, believe your careful preparations each morning are overly cautious, and are intimidated by the collection of trophies you wear. Alright, so our class features as we increase in level. At level 1 we have ancestry and backgrounds, attribute boost, initial proficiencies, and then on the hunt, monster lore, Slayer feat, Slayer's arsenal, and Slayer's quarry. So a fair few things. Then obviously even levels, we have our classics by the look of it, a skill feat and a class feat, a Slayer feat. Level 3 we have general feat, reflex expertise, and skill increase. Level 5, the standard stuff, tip of the tongue, weapon expertise, skill increase. Level 7, general feat, skill increase, Slayer's sight, specialized arsenal. Level 9. Ancestry feat, persistent focus can increase Slayer expertise. Armor expertise at level 11, expanded arsenal, general feat, natural reflexes, skill increase, level 13, martial weapon mastery, and skill increase. Along with that ancestry feat, level 15, more attribute boost, of course. General feat, greater persistent focus, greater specialized arsenal and skill increase, level 17. It's ancestry feat, perception legend, so we're a legendary perception class here. Skill increase, Slayer mastery, armor mastery, fated foe, general feat and skill increase, level 19. Okay. Lovely, well let's go through all the standard stuff. Key terms, relentless. Actions with the relentless trait are special techniques that you've trained to use on instinct. You can use any action with the relentless trait with the extra action you get from on the hunt. Oh, okay. In addition to one or more normal actions, in the case of 2 or 3 actions with the relentless trait. And reinforced, many Slayer feats and class features gain additional benefits when associated with a hunting tool is reinforced with the trophy listed in the reinforced entry. Intriguing. Okay, so here's our primary kind of thing. On the hunt. Whether you're facing your quarry or not, your Slayer's instincts let you seize on any advantage, chasing the thrill of battle to victory. You gain the on the hunt reaction. Slayer trait. Trigger. You see your quarry to be critically hit, or any creature within 60 feet to be reduced to 0 hit points. You throw yourself into battle, redoubling your efforts. You gain the quickened condition until the end of your next turn, and you can use the extra action to step, stride, or use an action with the relentless trait. Okay, so if you see that your target has been critically hit, or one of your allies has been very badly wounded, you get this extra kind of boost of adrenaline. Monster lore, this one makes a lot of sense. Your training and expertise mean you have comprehensive knowledge about dangerous monsters, and you can often correctly deduce information about a creature that even if they're new to you. You become trained in monster lore, a special skill that can be used to recall knowledge about non-humanoid creatures of any kind, but typically only to identify their notable vulnerabilities, resistances, and weakest defenses. Monster lore can't be used to recall knowledge about other topics other than creatures. Expert at 3rd level, Master at 7th level, and Legendary at 15th level. Okay, that's pretty cool. So it's like recall knowledge, but for any non-humanoid creature, which is pretty neat, and you get a solid bonus to it. You don't have to kind of guess what the bonus might be. It's just you can use monster lore for it. That's quite fun. Okay, you get a Slayer feat level 1, and you get Slayer's Arsenal. As a Slayer, you have an arsenal of hunting tools that you specially prepare to target your current quarry. Your hunting tools have no effect in anyone's hands but yours, and if you lose any of your hunting tools, you can replace all of them within 1 week of downtime. Many hunting tools represent a specific piece of equipment, typically level 0 common item, which you gain automatically and don't need to pay for. You can replace such tool with a new item of the same kind, or add runes to an eligible item, but you must pay for them normally, of course. At 1st level, you have a signature tool, a special hunting tool for which you have a particular affinity, and which you are especially adept at modifying to suit your quarry. Choose a signature tool, gaining its initial benefit and a unique action called Slaying Technique. And these are our options. We've got the Blood-Seeking Blade, which is a unique and powerful weapon, a consecrated panoply, or panoply? I don't know that word. Your signature tool is a set of consecrated charms and sidearms. Okay. Chemist's vials. Your signature tool is a set of unique alchemist's vials, and the equipment to prepare more. Or warded mail. Your signature tool is a suit of sturdy, customized armor. So this is kind of similar to what an inventor gets with their invention. In addition to your signature tool, you gain extra hunting tools called secondary tools through Slayer class feats, expanding your arsenal. And then Slayer's Quarry. As a Slayer, you are especially effective when you carefully research and track a particular target. You gain the following benefits, allowing you to track your quarry and claim your prize when you defeat it. So this is a combination, it feels like, of the investigators, I forget his exact name, but kind of investigation. Is it a starter lead or creator lead or something like that? When they create a kind of a lead that they're pursuing, and also tracking that rangers do. So Mark Quarry, you have a little preference in which prey you choose to hunt, so as long as you deem it worthy, you gain the Mark Quarry activity. Systems and activity with the Concentrate, Exploration, and Slayer traits. You designate a single creature, spending 10 minutes listening to rumors about it, researching it in a library or taking note of its tracks, and after you finish gathering details, the GM tells you whether the creature's level is equal to or higher than yours. If it is, you can mark that creature as your quarry. Okay, that's cool. It's got to be equal to a higher level to be worthy of hunting. That's fun. If it is, you can mark that creature as your koi, preparing the tools to hunt it. You gain +2 circumstance bonuses to survival checks to track it, and to monster lore and society checks to accrue knowledge about it. You gain additional benefits based on the Slayer's arsenal that you have, and you can only have one creature designated as your koi at a time. And your designation lasts until you use it again, or until your level exceeds your quarries. If you already have a creature designated as your koi and use mark koi, the first creature can't be it for the next 24 hours, so you can't just quickly switch them back and forth and stuff, fair enough. And claim trophy. When your koi finally falls, you can swiftly claim a trophy and use it to reinforce your own tools, readying yourself for the next hunt. You get a personal trophy case, a container of light bulk with no monetary value that you can use to store your trophies. Your trophy case can carry to 5 unused trophies at a time. You also gain the following activities to claim and use your trophies. So claim trophy, concentrate, explore, slayer. Requirements: you've access to the remains of the creature that was your koi when it died. You spend 1 minute gathering a trophy from your defeated koi and add it to your trophy case, preparing it to reinforce your slayer's arsenal. The exact nature of the trophy varies depending on the koi. It might be dragon's fang or hide, lich's empty soul cage, or fragments of a tyrant's armor. If you claim a trophy while your trophy case is full, choose which one to discard. As part of claiming a trophy, you can also immediately reinforce your arsenal with it. This allows you to reinforce one of your hunting tools with a new trophy and make any choices about its properties that you normally make when you reinforce your arsenal during daily preparations. When you reinforce your arsenal this way, you can't reinforce or make any new choices about the properties of any hunting tools except the one you reinforce with the new trophy. And reinforce arsenal, concentrate, explore, slayer, performing daily preparations. You can reinforce any number of your hunting tools with unused trophies from your trophy case, granting them any additional benefits listed in their reinforced entry. A hunting tool can be reinforced with only a single trophy at a time, and if you reinforce the same tool again, you return the previous trophy to your case, even if you did reinforce any of your hunting tools. Some hunting tools also allow you to make choices about their properties when you reinforce your arsenal, such as the damage type, by a blood-seeking blade, signature tools, initial benefit. Okay, fair enough. Let's have a look at the trophies. Oh, right. Trophies used to reinforce your arsenal during your daily preparations, and I've realised at this point I had not gone over to the screen at all, like the fool that I am. Whoops. Well, that was very dumb. Anyway, let's get back to the trophies. The nature of the trophies varies depending on your quarry, but each has certain common characteristics determined by the creature from which it was claimed. While all trophies have an associated magical tradition for the purpose of your Slayer feats and class features, they are not inherently magical and don't have a tradition trait unless the creature they claim from did. Okay, so divine, occult, etc. Some Slayer feats and class features might also reference a particular characteristic of the creature a trophy was claimed from, beyond the trophy's known common characteristics, not including rarity or size, but that's what the traits are. The damage types are the trophy's damage types that the creature could deal with its strikes on non-spellcasting abilities, or that the creature had immunity to. Okay, so covering a lot of bases there, so there's many options. And tradition associated with the matching the creature's tradition if it had any, which is for spells and stuff. Yep. If the creature had neither tradition nor the ability to cast spells, the trophy's tradition is occult. That makes sense. At first level, you have a single trophy already, which you claimed in a battle before your adventures, or you were given during your training. If you're creating a high-level Slayer, start with additional 2 trophy for every 2 levels you have. Your starting trophy has the following characteristics of your choice. Traits: 1 of aberration, beast, dragon, giant, or undead. Damage types: 1 of cold, fire, electricity, or spirit, and arcane, divine, primal, or occult. Designing trophies. The design of a trophy is up to the Slayer who claims it, but they usually typically follow the same basic guidelines. A trophy is usually no larger than the Slayer's spread hand, though it might cover the entire weapon or suit of armor once dismantled and used for reinforcing. A trophy from a non-humanoid creature is typically part of the body, such as dragon's fang or sea serpent's scale, while a trophy from a humanoid creature is typically part of its equipment or heraldry, such as a scrap of a warlord's banner or knight's pauldron. I appreciate we're not doing skinned faces and stuff like that. Not real, YouTube, if needs to be said. But cool, that's neat. We've got our skill feats, we've got our general feats, we've got our skill increases, reflex expertise, you've honed your ability to draw changes. Reflex at expert level 3 is fine. Ancestry feats. Tip of the tongue. Your encyclopedic knowledge of monsters allows you to quickly recall basic information. You gain the assurance and automatic knowledge feats. Skill feats of monster lore. I know assurance, obviously. That's one that gives you a flat 10 plus certain bits and pieces on a roll. But automatic knowledge is... You know the basic facts off the top of your head. Choose a skill You have a cool knowledge in action for each of the assurance feat. You can use a cool knowledge action with that skill as a free action once per round. If you do, though, you must use assurance on the skill check. Okay, that's very cool. Nice. Weapon expertise level 5 is pretty solid. Slayer's Sight means that perception rank increases to master at level 7. I think that's pretty early. And in addition, you can always gain a reaction whenever you roll initiative for combat, even though you can only use it for reactions from Slayer feats or class features. The GM might still rule that you can use other reactions before your first turn. Yes, because technically you only gain a reaction as of your first turn in Pathfinder. It's one of those rules that I do often forget. But yeah, okay, cool. We usually don't get boosts to perception. Oh, I'm not as familiar with them if we do, so that's nice. Specialized Arsenal. You know your knowledge of weapons makes them far more effective. You deal 2 additional damage. Okay, it's this one if you're expert, 3 of master, 4 of legendary, and you gain the specialized arsenal benefit of your signature tool. So I'll come to those in a moment. Persistent focus. Your single-minded activity on your quarry makes it difficult to sway, and this is why I was expecting will to be higher. So yeah, will increases to master, and when you roll a success on will, you get a critical instead. Slayer expertise level 9 as well, increasing our DC to expert. Arm expertise, increasing our expertise also to expert for light, medium, and unarmored. Expanded arsenal at level 11. You choose a second signature tool and gain its normal benefits, but not its specialized benefit. Natural reflexes. Oh, interesting. So our fortitude saves are staying at expert, but our reflexes are honed by countless battles. Your proficiency rank for reflex saves increases to master. When you roll a reflex save successfully, you get a critical success instead. Martial Mastery, of course, the classic. We are now master at level 13. Greater persistent focus at 15th level. Okay, that was longer ago than I thought it was. At 15th level, we have legendary will saves, and when you roll a critical failure on a will save, you get a failure instead. When you fail, you on a will save that deals damage, you take half damage. That's pretty solid. We also get Greater Specialized Arsenal, which increases damage with weapons again, and we also gain our Specialized Arsenal benefits for our second signature tool. Perception Legend, we're in a legendary in Perception at level 17. Slayer Mastery, we gain Master DC at level 17 in our Slayer rank, in our Slayer class DC. Armor Mastery at level 19, meaning we now have Master in light, medium, and unarmored defense. And then Fated Foe at level 19. You're difficult to kill, and an attempt to do so only incurs your wrath. You get a Fated Foe free action. Once per 10 minutes, when a creature would reduce you to 0 hit points, you refuse to be slain, turning on one who would try to fell you. You avoid being knocked out and remain at 1 hit point. Your wounded condition increases by 1. You gain 10 hit points equal to twice your level that last 1 minute. You immediately declare the triggering creature your quarry if its level is equal to or higher than yours, replacing your existing one, and can choose new options for any of your hunting tools that allow you to change their properties when you reinforce your arsenal, such as the damage type dealt by the blood-seeking blade. Okay, so you just go full rage mode and are able to just treat them as your quarry, and we gain like at 38 to 40 hit points. And just rage. Pretty cool. Obviously not actually rage, but you get the idea. Okay, so our signature tools. You have at least 1, eventually 2 signature tools. They've got initial benefits, which help you hunt your quarry, and a slaying technique, a unique action with the relentless trait that expands your options while on the hunt. One or both of these benefits is further enhanced with your signature tools upgraded with a trophy, reinforced even. If you gain a specialized arsenal feature at high levels, you gain the corresponding additional benefits. So we have Blood-Seeking Blade, even closer connections with your weapon than most slayers. Your signature tool is a level 0 common, simple, or martial weapon of your choice. You can designate a different simple or martial weapon as your signature tool when you reinforce your arsenal, transferring your special adjustments to it. The initial benefit is Bloody Fuller. If your quarry is resistant to physical damage dealt by this tool, you ignore an amount equal to 1 plus the number of damage dice. Reinforced, your first strike with this weapon deals an additional 1d6 damage of one of the trophy's damage types, and when you reinforce the arsenal, that's when you choose it even, and the extra damage increases to 2d6 at 11th and 3d6 at 19th. So damage boost for that one. Your slaying technique is Hone Strike, 2 actions, Concentrate Relentless. You center yourself and calm your breathing and then strike. You make a strike with your Blood-Seeking Blade signature tool. You gain a +2 bonus to your attack roll and ignore the concealed condition if any. And their specialized arsenal is you gain, at level 7, you gain access to the critical specialization effects of this tool. That makes sense. Because otherwise you don't seem to get that as a Slayer particularly. The initial benefit applies to any resistance to damage dealt by the signature tool, not just physical damage. Okay, that's pretty cool. And in addition, the signature tool gains the effects of either fearsome, returning, or shifting property runes chosen when you reinforce your arsenal. Nice. So the Chymist's Vials. Believe the battle is won well before it begins. Use your knowledge of alchemy and herbalism to guarantee victory. I do kind of like that there's elements of other kind of classes, or at least professions sort of things, in the hunter. It's just you're very specialised into this hunting part of that thing. Your signature tool is an alchemist's toolkit that also contains the following special alchemical concoctions, which you can use while wearing it. You can designate a different alchemist toolkit as your signature. Yeah, okay, fine. And you gain alchemical crafting skill feat. Initial benefit, Chymist's Eye. Alchemical and manipulate frequency once per hour. You drink a Chymist's Eye vial, gaining the ability to detect your quarry within 30 feet as a precise sense for the next 10 minutes. Reinforced, you also gain one special vision ability, the creature of a trophy you claim from hand, such as Dark Vision or Giant's Cloud Sight for the duration. Niche, but potentially very useful. Slaying technique, Ignition Vial, 2 actions, Alchemical Fire Manipulate Relentless. Frequency once per minute, you drink an ignition vial, then blow a cloud of deadly energy from your mouth. Creatures in a 15-foot cone take 2d4 fire damage with a basic reflex save against your class DC. Increases by 1d4 third level, and every 2 levels after that. And reinforced, it can deal one of the trophy's non-physical damage types, if any, instead of fire, and does the matching trait instead of fire. And then both of those things become once per round at level 7. So you get kind of like a cone damage attack that can do many different types of damage for solid damage and once per round. And you become very good at just detecting them using various different types of sight. Okay, that's intriguing. That's intriguing. So Consecrated Panoply, that one. Whether you worship a deity or not, you know that their trappings are anathema to the many of the creatures that you hunt. Your signature tool is a harness or coat that contains a seemingly endless array of charms and consecrated weapons, whether worn openly or hidden inside pockets, and their blessings protect you and skewer your prey in equal measure. So this one feels very Thaumaturge, but also, again, very much that kind of vampire hunter sort of idea, mixed with elements of kind of Witcher-ness, this plus the previous one with the alchemy. Initial benefit, Safeguard Charms. While wearing the signature tool, the consecrated charms give you a +1 status bonus against saving throws against your koi. Cool. Reinforced, also +1 status bonus against saving throws against creatures with any of the trophy's traits against spells and against spells of any of the trophy's traditions. Awesome. Slaying technique, Hunting Spike, attack, manipulate, relentless. Requirements, you have a free hand and are wearing your consecrated panoply signature tool. You draw and strike as the effect with one of your hunting spikes, specially consecrated tools. The function is daggers. Yeah, we're doing stakes. Your hunting spikes of either the holy or unholy trait. We're really doing stakes. When you reinforce your arsenal, your panoply always contains more spikes to draw, but they're worthless to anyone but you and cannot be etched with runes or otherwise modified. So they are essentially just unlimited daggers that are consecrated holy and unholy, and that you can draw and attack with one action with. Cool, pretty fun. And the specialized arsenal at 7th level, your hunting spikes function as, okay, I was wondering if we were going to get here, +1 striking daggers, and in addition they are treated as either cold iron or silver, also makes sense, chosen when you reinforce your arsenal, and at 13th level they become +2 greater striking daggers, and at 19th +3 major striking daggers, and you can choose for them to be treated as adamantine instead of cold iron or silver when you reinforce your arsenal. Okay, cool. I was thinking their damage is going to trail off very quickly, but that's why you get that option. That's cool. That's very fun. I like that quite a lot, just constantly throwing out more of these stakes. And finally, Warded Mail. Your armor isn't just protection, it fits you perfectly, matching your movements and warding off your koi. Your signature tool is a suit of level 0 common armor of your choice. You can designate a different armor, and yeah, so same thing, you can change it. And whenever you gain a class that allows you expert or greater proficiency, you can also gain proficiency in heavy armor. Cool, okay. So you have, this is the potential heavy armor option that you get here. Initial benefit, Fortified Plate. Wearing the signature tool, you gain resistance to physical damage equal to, by your quarry, equal to 2, plus the value of your armor's potency rune. Reinforced, you also gain a resistance to 1 plus half your level to one of the trophy's damage types, chosen when you reinforce your arsenal. I'm liking the initial boosts all being directly boosting kind of against your quarry in some way, and then the trophy being an additional boost based on a trophy. And so that's the idea of trying to study and learn information about your quarry, so then you can go, well, which trophies have I got that are going to be good against this this thing. Maybe if you've a red, not a red dragon scale, but some kind of dragon scale which has the fire trait, and you're going to be going against like hunting a devil. Well, I'll put on this trophy on my armor because that's going to give me some fire resistance, for example. Slaying technique. Armored shelter. Relentless. Requirements: you're wearing your awarded male signature tool. Effect: you position your armor to better protect you. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to your AC and to reflex saves against area effects until the end of your next turn, or until you move from your current space or use an attack action, whichever comes first. +2 is very solid to both of those. That's easily the difference between a crit and a success, or a fumble and a fail. So, awesome. This is very much a more kind of defensive class, version of the class. And Specialized Arsenal, at level 7, you gain access to armor specialization effects of the signature tool. That makes sense. Initial benefit grants resistance to all damage dealt by Koi. Again, makes sense. In addition, you can don or doff the signature tool as a single interact action. Very impressive. So there we go. We've kind of got the very defensive armor-based one. We've got the utilizing kind of rapid throwing kind of daggers and weakening them via holy and unholy and kind of metal weaknesses, some more for kind of fey or undead kind of feels like with that one. And then you've got the vials, which are for kind of, this one's more kind of niche, I think, but just being super good at kind of detecting and just kind of blasting out fire. I think this is kind of like witchery, but my knowledge on the witcher stuff is very limited, but kind of having the ability to do different kind of energy blasts from like your mouth. I don't think that's particularly witchery anyway, but all the different kind of like visions by using your trophies. And then just sword one, which is you're good with the weapon, good, and you hit things good and ignore their resistance. So that's kind of a difference between them and the Thaumaturge, is like you have benefits against the thing that you're hunting no matter what, but they're not always going to be exploiting weaknesses, which is the Thaumaturge's whole thing, is exploiting and creating weaknesses specifically on any creature, whereas this isn't necessarily exploiting weaknesses, it's also gaining resistances or doing something else against your target. Lovely. And then we have our Slayer feats. Let's have a look. Number 1, Blood Scent. Relentless and Slayer. 1 action. With a glance you can judge how close your target is to falling. You recall knowledge about a single creature you can see. If you succeed, for the next minute, you know all conditions that the creature has and an approximate percentage of its remaining hit points. You can use this ability as a free action if the creature you target is your Koi or is taking persistent bleed damage. Very cool. It's like very useful for your allies to kind of judge information on a creature if you're trying to potentially knock them unconscious and things as well, rather than kill them too. Next up, Crossbow Slayer. A classic. Interacting to reload gains the relentless trait for you. Okay. You find that a crossbow's versatility is the perfect companion for your own, and you eagerly reload it to get back into the fight. Interacting to reload gains the relentless trait for you. Special. If you have a consecrated panoply signature tool, you can load a hunting spike into a crossbow when you reload it. The next time you use the hunting spike, its thrown trait uses the crossbow's range instrument. That's a fun one. I like that. You often have the kind of crossbow combo with that kind of thing. So that's a nice little additional detail that I quite enjoy. So I'm seeing we've got some kind of gem, and then we're having like the specific feats that are going to pair with the specific weapons. For example, drink adaptation serums. You drink your adaptation serums made of a unique brew intended to protect you from extreme conditions, which you gain as a secondary tool. So this, I think, is kind of, sort of, witchery. Not quite like the mutagens. The mutagens feel like they more are, but similar. You have to have the chemist vials or signature tools, which you don't have to do for the crossbow one, but it makes it better. Alchemical Manipulate Slayer. You drink your adaptation serums made of a unique brew intended to protect you from extreme conditions, which you gain as a secondary tool. For the next hour, you gain one of the following effects, chosen when you reinforce your arsenal. Treat severe cold as mild cold, and incredible cold as severe, and then the same with heat. And if you reinforce them for the duration, you also gain resistance equal to level to damage of any trophy types dealt by hazardous terrain, or by an effect that would damage you upon entering your starting your turn in that area, such as toxic cloud or wall of fire. Awesome. Very cool. I know some people don't necessarily, including myself, to be fair, use those stages of cold and heat as much. I'm not at a place where my players have come across those yet, but I do need to keep that in mind for when they do, but for the damage part on the bottom half of it, that's also very good. Naturally, we have paired Bloodseeker next for if you have wanting to do dual wield. Prerequisites are Blood-Seeking Blade signature tool. Whether you carry two identical weapons or use your sidearm, your signature weapon is paired, threatening a combo with a storm of blows. You gain a paired Bloodseeker as your secondary tool, which is level 0 common, one-handed, simple or martial weapon of your choice. You can designate a different one-handed weapon as your second blade when you reinforce. Yep, blah 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 blah. Your paired Bloodseeker gains the initial benefit of your Blood-Seeking Blade signature tool, except that you roll d4s instead of d6s for the additional damage. Okay, so you do still gain more damage with it, but just a bit less, but that's still good. It also gains the specialized arsenal benefit when your Blood-Seeking Blade signature tool does. You can use Hone Strike or any other ability that requires you to wield a strike with the Blood-Seeking Blade signature tool with your paired Bloodseeker instead. Lovely. Gives you options for resistances and just for doing a different kind of build if you want to do that. Nice. Peculiar weaponry. You specialise in an unusual weapon, whether a common, soldier's armament, or a unique tool few can use. This is another Blood-Seeking Blade one. You specialise in an unusual weapon. I just read that bit. If your Blood-Seeking Blade tool is a simple weapon, increase its damage die size by 1 step. Also, a Blood-Seeking Blade signature tool can be an advanced weapon, in addition to simple or martial. And you treat any advanced weapon you're designating as a signature tool as if it were a martial weapon for the purposes of proficiency. So again, it's just expanding the options that you get, which I always do like. I've still got a couple more. Repelling Shield. You gain a Repelling Shield as a secondary tool, which is level 0 common shield of your choice. You can designate a different shield as your Repelling Shield when you reinforce. Yep. While your Repelling Shield is raised, you get a +2 bonus to reflex saves against area effects created by your Koi. In addition, you gain the Shield Block General Feat. Awesome. And reinforcing it, you can shield block with your Repelling Shield in response to taking any of the trophy's damage types from attack and discord physical. Awesome. So it just gives you more resistance and defense. Spiked Surcoat. When I glanced at that before, I read Sugarcoat. That's not what it says. You've got to be in the Warded Mail signature tool for this one. You wear a set of vicious spikes over your armor, which you gain as a secondary tool. While wearing your Spiked Surcoat, whenever you're hit by an unarmed strike, a strike with a non-reach melee weapon, or are grabbed, the attacker takes piercing damage equal to 1 plus the value of the armor's potency rule, and reinforced, they deal 1 additional damage of the trophy's damage types. So it's just a little bit of tick damage if they get too close, and also from a narrative perspective, they're probably not going to want as much. Very, is it Kirk? Who's the Knight of Thorns in Dark Souls? I should really know that. But the big spiky guy. And finally, we have Sudden Pounce for level 1. You leap into the fray with abandon. It's 2 actions, Flourish, which means you're going to do it once per round, but that makes sense anyway, and Relentless. And Slayer. You leap into the fray with abandon, make a long jump. If you land within melee reach of at least one enemy, you can make a melee strike against the enemy. If you leaped at least 15 feet, they're off guard to this strike, because yeah, you've suddenly pounced. Next up at level 2, we have Instant Enmity. Enmity is a word I remember from Paladins in 5e, I believe. Once per day, you see a creature take a hostile action against yourself or one of your allies. You focus your hunt on an unexpected but loathsome foe. If the trigger creature's level is equal to or higher than yours, it temporarily becomes your Koi for 1 minute. Ooh, so kind of like Valve Enmity, I get it. Replacing your previous Koi for the duration. If its level is lower than yours, the reaction is wasted, but you can use Instant Enmity again the same day once 10 minutes have passed. You cannot claim a trophy from a Koi declared using Instant Enmity. So that's a kind of get out of jail free card if you wind up in a battle, and I suppose if you took on a hunter as a class and were like, I know that I'm not going to get to my next target for quite a bit, that means a whole bunch of your abilities you're not able to use quite as much. So having something like Instant Enmity means, okay, but I can temporarily pivot away from that and do this thing and get some of my bonuses even if I don't get the trophies. So I like that. Pack Slayer. You know that even lesser monsters make a worthy prey in enough numbers. You can mark as your quarry a group of at least 3 creatures of the exact same type, such as a pack of werewolves, even if their level is lower than yours. You treat any number of the group as your quarry for the purposes of your Slayer feats and class features, but can only ever claim a single trophy. Again, very cool, because sometimes it is like a gang or a pack or a horde that you're dealing with. Very nice, I like that. Personalized gear. Your signature tool is even more closely fit to your specifications than most Slayers, enhancing its performance. This is another Blood-Seeking Blade or Warded Mail tool one. Your signature tool is even more closely fit to your specifications than most Slayers, enhancing. I just read that. I keep reading the top part and then reading the first line, and it's the same thing. If you have a Bloodseeking Blade or signature tool with a parry trait, the circumstance bonus to AC for positioning defensively increases to +2. And if you have a Bloodseeking Blade signature tool with the Backstabber trait, the extra precision damage increases by 1. If you have awarded a male signature tool, it gains the Comfort trait if you didn't already have it, and you ignore its reduction to speed. Awesome. Comfort means you can actually rest in your armor as well. Some fun enhancements to your weapons and armor there, then. Saltstone. Relentless Manipulate Slayer. 1 action. Requirements: you have a free hand. You draw your Saltstone, a small block of dried magical compounds, and scrape it along a weapon you're wielding. For the next minute, that weapon can damage incorporeal creatures as if you'd Ghost Touch rune on it. If your Quarry has regeneration, it also deactivates their regeneration as if it had dealt damage of the appropriate type. Fun. Shifting Hunt. You're always ready to adapt to your equipment to the needs of the hunt. It's another kind of niche one. When you change the configuration of a combination or modular weapon, or your grip on a two-hand weapon, it gains the Relentless trait. And another special, if you have Bloodseeking Blade, with the combination modular or two-handed trait, you can choose different options for each configuration for Slayer class features or feats that require you to make a choice when you reinforce your answer. For example, you can choose a different damage type for Bloodseeking Blades and she'll benefit for each of your weapons configurations. Okay, that's kind of cool. So if you had it like in half stance and one-handed and two-handed and stuff, you can do different things. Okay, bit to keep track of there, but that's cool that you can do that. Slayer's tricks. You've learned a few simple magical tricks to supplement your tools in a pinch. You gain 2 common occult cantrips as innate spells. Ooh, your spellcasting attribute for these spells and any other spells you gain for Slayer feats of wisdom rather than charisma. Okay, casting a spell gains the Relentless trait for you as long as the spell came from your Slayer feat. Damn. And if you have a consecrated panoply signature tool, you can use divine spells rather than occult for this feat and for any other Slayer feats. Okay, awesome. That's fun. I like that you have got a kind of spell sort of bolstered option in here. Level 4. Apply Spirit Oil. Manipulate a Occult Relentless Slayer. 1 action. Once per day, you have a free hand on wielding a weapon. You have a small pot containing a foul concoction of oil and resin as a secondary tool. You draw a cloth coated in spirit oil and wipe it along the weapon, magically enhancing its edge and lining it. Limening it? I'm not sure if that's spelt wrong or I don't know that word. In Ghostly Fire. For 1 minute, the required weapon gains the Deadly D8 trait, or increases the die of its deadly trait by 1 step if it already has it. Deadly means if you get a crit, you roll an additional D8 on top of the other damage, I believe. And reinforced for 1 minute, that required weapon also deals 1d4 precision damage on a critical hit. Precision damage of the trophy's type chosen when you reinforce the arsenal. Fun damage buff one. I'm liking the kind of like different hunter items that you'd have to kind of do yourself these enhancements. There's a lot of fun. Got a couple of blood ones now. Blood for blood. 1 action. Flourish and Slayer. Requirements. A creature critically hit you with an attack since the end of your previous turn. You viciously return your foe's attack, reinvigorating yourself with your vengeance. Make a strike against the required creature. If the strike hits, you gain temporary hit points equal to half your level or to the damage the triggering attack dealt, whichever is lower. These hit points last for 1 minute. Kind of Bloodborne style here, where you've got your rally mechanic. Neat. And Blood Rush. The adrenaline of entering combat with your target pushes you forward. When you're in your old initiative and you can see your quarry, you immediately go on the hunt as a free action. Hell yeah. Cure. Another Chymist Vial signature tool. Exploration Healing Slayer. You can have a Vial of a Cure as a secondary tool. You can spend 1 minute to apply it to an ally, removing one of the following conditions: paralyzed, petrified, sickened, or unconscious. If the ally was unconscious, they also gain 1 hit point. If they're temporarily immune, and they become temporarily immune to all cures for 24 hours. And if you reinforce it, you can use a cure to attempt to counteract any 1 affliction applied by the creature the trophy was claimed from, using your class DC -10 as your counteract modifier. Nice. And Expansive Panoply. Consecrated Panoply, obviously. While a short, sharp piece of metal is a remarkably versatile tool, you know that it is not appropriate for every occasion. When you use your hunting spike, you can draw and strike with the strike's that function as clubs, darts, or short swords rather than daggers. This changes their traits, damage, and weapon category and group, but they otherwise follow the same rules as normal hunting spikes. Nice, they give you some more options in regards to damage types and some other traits. It's being quite loud out there. Hopefully it's not going to come through too much on the recording. We'll see. If it does, it's going to have to just treat that as ambience, I think. Level 6 now, Final Flourish. With a showy flourish, you flick blood off your blade or rearm your weapon, invigorating yourself. It's one action and has Flourish. When you reduce a creature to 0 hit points this turn, you gain temporary hit points equal to half of your level, which lasts for 1 minute. And you can interact to swap weapons or reload a weapon you're wielding. Alright. Just gives you kind of a little refresh. Relentless Counter-Strike. You redirect an attack's momentum to throw yourself into the fight. Trigger. You have a circumstance bonus to your AC from using Armored Shelter, raising a shield, or positioning a weapon with a parry trait defensively. And an attack that would have hit without that bonus misses you. Okay, this is a reaction. Kind of niche, but you redirect the attack's momentum to throw yourself into the fight, and you go on the Hunters of Reaction. Pretty powerful though if you manage to pull it off. Shifting combination. In a flurry of movement, you strike with the required weapon, interacting to change its configuration or change your grip on it. Wow, I'm going to have to pause this and get back to you. Okay, so the weather's calmed down somewhat now, the next day, that is. Let's get back into this. We had Shifting Combination, which was 2 actions, Flourish, Relentless, and Slayer. Prerequisites, Shifting Hunt. Requirements, you're wielding a melee, you're wielding a weapon with the combination modular or 2-hand trait. In a flurry of movement, you strike with the required weapon. Interact to change its configuration, or grip it. Or change your grip on it. Then you strike the same target again. If neither strike is made in a configuration with the Agile trait, the second strike does take a -2 penalty. Both strikes use your current multiple attack penalty, and if both hit, you combine the damage and apply resistances and weaknesses only once. Okay, so this is like one of the classic make 2 attacks and combine resistances, but it can also be multiple combination weapon-y modular things. So it allows you to shift those as well as do your damage stuff. Alright. Spell Slates. Prerequisites, Slayer's Tricks. You've learned how to expand your magical tricks with a set of specially prepared charms or runes, which you gain as a secondary tool. You gain a first rank common occult spell and second rank occult spell as innate spells, each of which you can cast once per day. And at 8th level, you can gain a third rank common occult spell as an innate spell that you can also cast once per day. And as a reinforcement, you gain an additional common innate spell rank of a rank equal to or less than the highest rank innate spell you have from Slayer feats, which you can cast once per day. This additional spell must be of the trophy's tradition, and you can swap it to a different spell with the same restrictions when you reinforce your arsenal. Lovely. A little bit more spell options there. And finally we have Wall of Will, which is prerequisite warded mail signature tool. When you prepare to defend yourself, your willpower is so fierce that you are difficult to even approach. While you're benefiting from Armoured Shelter, the first time each turn your quarry attempts to enter a space adjacent to you as part of its move action, it must first attempt a will save against your class DC, and if it fails, it doesn't enter that space and the action is disrupted. Okay, that's fun. So it's like an action, both movement denial and an action burn there. That's very cool. Kind of like Sanctuary-esque, but with movement instead of attacking, and whenever you activate that ability once per round. Pretty awesome. On to level 8, starting with Armoured Fortress. You are benefiting from Armoured Shelter or have a raised shield. So again, this is now mostly armor one, but also if you've just got a shield, you can use it too. And you have, you know how to position your armor or shield to protect your allies as well as yourself. Until you move from your current space or use an attack action, your allies can take cover behind you. Awesome, yes. So if you're going for some of those more defensive, protective options as a hunter, then you can do kind of this as a slayer rather than being super aggressive. Level 8 continues with Catalyzing Flask. Prerequisite, Chemist's Vials signature tool. You get a Catalyzing Flask as a secondary tool, a special alchemical vial that contains a level 0 common alchemical elixir of your choice. You can activate the elixir without consuming it once per day, as the monster parts within react with remaining fluid to produce more and fortify the elixir. If you activate the elixir for a second time of the day, it is fully consumed. You can designate a different alchemical elixir of your level or lower as the contents of your catalyzing flasks when you reinforce your arsenal, replacing the previous elixir and refilling it if it was fully consumed. Alright. That's similar to one of the things that the Thaumaturge does again. One of the Thaumaturge items is like a flask that you can sip or drain, I believe. So it's kind of similar idea here, but in a different way, because this is for elixirs instead. And if you enforce it, when you activate the elixir with your catalyzing flask, you get a +1 status bonus to Fortitude reflex or will saves for whichever the creature the trophy was claimed by the highest modifier, and it's a bonus that lasts 1 minute. Fun. We have Defensive Hunt next. It's a reaction, and if you're critically hit by your quarry, you turn your weakness into an opportunity. You go on the hunt as a free action. Ooh, that is an interesting one. Field Forge Tools. Your experience working with monster parts and salvage equipment makes you adept enough to create weapons and armor directly from your trophies. You gain the monster crafting skill feat even if you don't qualify for its prerequisites. And when you use it, you can consume an unused trophy in addition to the body of a monster, incorporating the trophy into the item's construction. If you later designate the item as a hunting tool, for example, a blood-seeking blade or warded mail signature tool, you gain its reinforced benefits as if you'd reinforced it with the consumed trophy. You can still enforce the item normally with another trophy, and you can switch which trophy's characteristic uses with a 1 minute activity with the manipulate trait. Okay, fun. So you can just combine things together to make a better tool and give yourself some more options. And also, if it's a part of the tool innately, you don't have to get rid of things from your carry case. Was it Eagle Hunter? Eager Hunter. You are so eager to reach your prey that every opening propels you forward. When you go on the hunt, you can step towards the nearest enemy as a free action. Okay. So kinda niche, but step means you don't trigger reactions, which can be useful for sure, and means enemies have to spend an action to move back into potential melee with you too. So that seems niche, but I can see the use. And Endless Enmity, instant enmity prerequisite. You are always ready to face a creature that harms you or your allies. The frequency of instant enmity becomes once every 10 minutes. Alright. I don't necessarily know if you need it that often, but I guess if you're really going for that just hunt anything mentality. Ever vigilant, you can pursue your prey even when distracted. At the start of each of your turns, when you regain your actions, you gain an additional reaction that can only be used to go on the hunt. Okay, classic. Additional reaction thing can always be helpful, especially if you've got reactive shield or something you managed to grab from that, or just reactive strike. Share insight. Your understanding of your quarry is so complete that you can easily guide your allies to exploit it. Okay, so this is similar to one of the, I think there's a ranger maybe, or it might be a fighter feat, where you can learn information and clue in other people on it. That clue in's an investigator one, but there's another thing, but this is a more powerful one by the looks of it, because it's level 10. It's one action, and each day when you reinforce your arsenal, choose one of the following benefits. You can initially share. You can choose only a benefit associated with the signature tool you have. When you share insight, your allies gain the chosen benefit for 1 minute. Bloodseeking Blade, allies within 30 feet ignore 3 of your core's resistance. Okay. Chimeras Vials, allies within 30 feet gain low light vision, dark vision if they already had light vision, and can detect your quarry within a precise sense within 30 feet. Powerful. Consecrated Panoply, allies within 30 feet of you gain +1 status bonus to saving throws against your quarry. Useful. And Warded Mail, they have resistance 5 to damage dealt by your quarry. Okay, those are all pretty cool. Pretty fun buffs to give your allies there. On to level 12, Double Quarry, where we can see this is your improved preparations allow you to ready your tools for 2 foes at once. You can have up to 2 creatures designated as your quarry at the same time. If you mark quarry where you have 2, you choose which one to replace. Nice. Expanded spell slates. You need spell slates. You have further expanded your collection of magical tricks. You get a 4th common rank occult spell, 4th rank common occult spell as an innate spell, which you can do once per day, and a 14th a 5th rank, and a 16th a 6th rank, which you can do once a day. A bit more spell stuff. Gouging Strike next. You twist your weapon, gouging your prey deeply and making them vulnerable. So one action has Flourish trait. Make a melee strike. If a strike hits, did an additional damage die of persistent bleed damage with the same die as the strike's weapon damage dice. Yikes. Target gains weakness 3 to physical damage until the start of your next turn, or until it's no longer taking this persistent bleed damage whichever comes first. It's not a huge difference there, but I guess potentially if it goes, it's able to recover. It might be 1 or 2 actions less on people. But yeah, additional damage and they're bleeding, so that's chip damage and kind of boosted 2 types of chip damage potentially for that turn, And you can do this again and again. It's just one action. So, that's nasty. Spectral lenses. You gain spectral lenses as a secondary tool, which take the form of either specially treated glasses or noxious ointment you apply to your eyes. You can apply or remove your spectral lenses as a single interact action. While applied, you gain the effect See the Unseen. What's See the Unseen? Well, pierces through illusions and find invisible creatures and spirits. You can see invisible creatures as though they weren't visible, although their features are blurred, making them concealed and difficult to identify. You can see incorporeal creatures like ghosts phase through an object within 10 feet of an object's surface as a blurry shape seen through those objects. Subtler clues grant you +2 status bonus to checks to make you disbelieve illusions. Okay, and when you reinforce it, you also get a +1 bonus status bonus to perception checks to seek or search for creatures with any of the trophy's traits, and you reduce the DC for the flat check for concealed or hidden creatures by 2, typically to 3 and 9 respectively. Very cool. Again, it's better for searching for stuff. Arm Bloodburst File. One action, Alchemical Manipulate Relentless. Frequency once every 10 minutes. Your Bloodburst Vial is an ampule of volatile monster blood designed to detonate when attached to a weapon, which you gain as a secondary tool. You lock your Bloodburst Vial into a weapon you're wielding. If that weapon is a ranged weapon, you can also interact to reload it as you load the vial as ammunition. Your next strike with that weapon Your next strike with that weapon this turn gains the splash trait and deals an additional 12d6 persistent bleed damage and 12 persistent bleed splash damage. You are immune to this splash damage. If you have a free hand, you can instead arm your Bloodburst Vial to treat it as an alchemical bomb, which you can strike with once before the end of your turn to deal 12, same thing. At 17th level, it becomes 14d6 in either case. Damn. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Reinforced, your Bloodburst Vial does an additional 1d6 damage or 1 splash damage of one of the trophy's non-physical damage types. Just gives it a little bit of an extra boost. Next up, last 14th level 1, Open Wound. Your weapons can always find your prey's wounds guiding your hands. Creatures that are taking persistent bleed damage are off guard you. Okay, so we've got a bit of a bleeding combo going on here, which I think makes sense for a Slayer. Impenetrable Shelter. Warded Mail Signature Tool. Your armor is covered in so many layers of special materials and treatments that it protects you from almost any harm. When you use Armored Shelter, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to all saves against the area effects, not just reflex saves. Okay. Not going to be useful in every single situation, but in a fair few, Fortitude saves and will saves, +2. Again, solid increase. It's going to make their will saves very powerful if you take that one. And Inferno Vial. Chimus Vial Signature Tool. You've developed a far more volatile mix of ignition vials, making their energy spread much further. When using ignition vial, it damages creatures in a 30-foot cone rather than 15-foot cone. Just much bigger fire explosion. Fair enough. Unerring Edge. Blood-Seeking Blade Signature Tool. We're getting a few more of our signatures at level 16. You can detect your foe from the slightest movement, letting your blade strike true. When you use the honed strike, you ignore the target's hidden condition as well as its concealed condition, and the strike bonus, the circumstance bonus on your attack increases to +3. So it makes it even more likely that you're going to strike them and avoid those extra chances of missing. Ambitious Spike. Here we go, Consecrated Panoply Signature Tool. The layered blessing on your hunting spikes mean they always draw blood. Here we go. When you use Hunting Spike, the strike gains the following failure effect. You deal damage you would have dealt on a hit, treating all damage dice if they just rolled a 1. This applies to all damage from weapon wound spells, special abilities, not just damage dice. Okay, cool. So this means you still do some damage. Nice. Level 18, Obliterate. It is a death trait, 3 actions. Focusing all your senses on your target, you prepare for destructive attack. Make a strike against your quarry. If you hit the strike, deals maximum damage. And then after the strike, your turn ends. Okay, so 3 actions it probably would anyway, but yeah, max damage a hit. That's kind of crazy, but it's pretty cool. You just got to be the right place to use it. Terrifying Bloodlust. 1 action, Relentless. Once every 10 minutes. Your will is terrifying in its own right. You unleash your killing intent, forcing each enemy within 60 feet even, that can see you to attempt a will save against your class DC. On a crit, they become unaffected. On a success, they're frightened 1. On a fail, frightened 2. On a crit fail, frightened 3. So it's like attempting to intimidate, but anything within 60 feet, which is big AoE. Frightened's quite powerful debuffs, that's good. And we've got 2 more for level 20. Eternal Hunt. Reaction, end of your turn. You can always see an opening to throw yourself into battle and don't need to wait for one to present itself. You go on the hunt as a free action. So you just constantly can go on a free hunt. I mean, it makes sense by level 20, honestly. Or Unbound Hunt. You've exceeded the limits of your training and any technique can be part of your hunt. The first action or activity you use in each of your turns gains the relentless trait for you. Okay, so you can either always be going on the hunt, or you can be using almost anything you do as a relentless trait. Makes sense. And that is the Slayer. So, powerful combatant in a variety of ways, though, depending on what you do. You can be very much just melee swording, attacking. You can do more of a support role with the with the armor, or depending on how you upgrade it. And you've got the kind of super sight one with the chemist's eye stuff, and the alchemical crafting, and you get like your fire breath stuff there as well. Or you can do like the just many kind of unlimited dagger throwing, or different if you get those feats that just kind of limited weapons to throw out, vampire stake style, with the consecrated panoply, and kind of exploiting some resistances and weaknesses even. So there we go. I like the idea of you get the trophies, and then those trophies can be used to enhance your other abilities further. You're marking a target, a quarry, and then they've got to be of your level or higher, unless you take other feats into doing multiples. It's really cool. It's really unique. It does seem on the surface when you first look at it, it's like, well, isn't this just kind of a ranger? But yeah, it is definitely different. Whilst the rangers can be hunting anything at any kind of time, this is a particular, quarry. It's a mark. You're not hunting for food or to just track something. It is a bigger deal. This is kind of like your whole thing. This is your identity. It's not just an element of it. As rangers, you kind of got the hunting and like the gathering, as it were. You've got the nature side, the survivalist side. You're just all in on the hunting. I like some of the ways that you can boost and enhance your allies using them, and the different ways that you're able to enhance your weapons and the secondary tools you get with the trophies that you get with reinforcing. That's all very neat. There's lots of aspects, lots of elements of RP you can look into here, which could be quite fun. That's for sure. It'd be interesting to see how often you actually get your reaction. Would be the main thing I'm wondering for On the Hunt. You need a quarry to be hit by a crit, or any creature within 60 feet to be reduced to 0 hit points. Oh, so it is any creature. I hadn't clocked that. I read that first as any ally, which isn't what it is. It's any creature. So yes, okay. So this makes slightly more sense. So if you're in a battle with your quarry and then they take a crit, you get On the Hunt. So you kind of want to make sure that you've got at least like a fighter in your party, or a gunslinger, or like a precision ranger or something, so you've got at least one other person who's got those higher modifiers, and they're likely to be critting a little bit more to help give you this advantage in that kind of battle. But if you're fighting just another battle and you've got to hold a bunch of enemies and an enemy goes down, then you still get the bloodlust from, and that's cool. So I missed that before. I thought it was only allies, which it is. It's allies or enemies, but that makes make more sense, and you're going to get at least once or twice. At which point you get to do the little extra boost, and you get to do a little extra relentless actions. Very cool. Okay, yeah, I like the monster lore elements of it. It's fun. It's cool. It's certainly niche as a class. It's very streamlined, not streamlined, but very specific. Exactly what you want. Maybe even more so than the Daredevil, but it's definitely got the risk-reward aspect still, because you get the rewards. Those are the trophies, but they are going to be tough enemies that you're fighting. That's for sure. All right. Well, this has been a bit of a rambly one, and the weather certainly has not helped. So, if you made it this far, what are your thoughts on these new classes, or the Slayer specifically? Let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe and like the video if you haven't already. That'd be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.